Viddal Riley moves to 8-0, 5 by way of, this time with a 4th round TKO victory over Anees Taj. Now, Riley turned pro back in 2018, and since that time, he's only had 8 fights. That's very slow going for a fighter at this stage of their careers. Normally, a prospect is going to be fighting much more regularly than that. Viddal Riley was training YouTubers and all this kind of thing and fighting infrequently. And I think that reflected itself in some of his performances, where to me, Riley looked sluggish, he looked ring rusty. Whereas in this fight here against Anees Taj, I thought he looked sharp. This is the sharpest I've personally ever seen Viddal Riley. And I have to imagine that that is to do, at least in part, with the increased activity since signing with Boxer. So, for example, in 2022, he had 3 fights, and he's already had his first fight. We're in February of 2023. So that's 4 fights in pretty quick succession. Whereas prior to that, he didn't fight at all in 2021. He only fought once in 2020, twice in 2019, once in 2018. So, yeah, I think we're seeing improvements due to the increased activity, and we're seeing what Viddal Riley can actually do. Not that Taj was any great shakes or anything like that. A tough guy, yes, but certainly not one of the best fighters in the world at cruiserweight. So Viddal Riley was boxing on the back foot in this fight, moving around. Taj was coming at him. Riley was sticking a jab on him. There were moments where Riley was caught with right hands, and you don't want to see that, particularly not at this level. So he's going to need to tighten that up significantly. But in terms of the fluidity, the speed, the timing, the rhythm, the balance, and all that kind of thing, it was a marked improvement from what I've seen before of Viddal Riley. And he managed to cut Taj very badly with a right hand. And that's a shot that kept landing throughout this short fight. Even after the cut, he was still landing it. And after the 3rd round, the referee and the doctor, etc., decided that it was too severe to allow Taj to continue. So Viddal Riley gets the victory. And as I say, I saw a lot of improvements there, but he was still getting clipped with right hands. You don't want to see that. That needs to be sorted out. And also the punching power of Viddal Riley. He was hitting this guy flush numerous times, and I never even saw his legs buckle. Maybe Taj has got a really good chin. Maybe he's a Marius Watt type figure in the cruiserweight division rather than a heavyweight. I don't know. But from what I saw there, he doesn't strike me as, let's say, a David Haye type puncher. When Haye was at cruiserweight, fighting at this type of level, catching opponents that frequently and that cleanly with his right hand, he was flattening them. I mean, even Lawrence Okolie at this kind of level was putting these guys on the deck when he's catching them that cleanly and frequently. So I'm sure Riley has power, but it doesn't at this stage appear to be anything exceptional or outlandish. Obviously, power is not the be-all and end-all, but it is a nice thing to have. Most fighters do not have Alexander Usyk level skills to be able to compensate for a lack of punching power at the highest level. So with regards to Viddal Riley, I'm just trying to weigh up his attributes and measure them against the top guys in the cruiserweight division. And obviously, the more we see of Viddal Riley, the more we'll know about him, the more he will reveal attributes about himself. Maybe he's got a really good chin, a big heart, determination. Maybe he's really good at switching his tactics up on the fly, so on and so forth. Or maybe not. We'll find out in due course. But let me know what you thought about his performance against Taj. Did you see the improvements that I saw? How far do you reckon he could go? And who would you like to see him matched up against? There's another cruiserweight prospect, also promoted by Ben Shalom, in Chevon Clark. Now, what I've seen of Clark thus far, I would favor Viddal Riley to beat him heavily right now. I know Chevon Clark can punch, but there seems to be a lot of vulnerability there in terms of defense and also punch resistance. Clark is only 4-0, but apparently they do want to move him quite quick due to his age. He's in his early 30s, whereas Viddal Riley is only in his mid-20s. So could they fight for a domestic title in the not too distant future, the way that Anthony Joshua and Dylan White did? early on in their careers, or George Groves and James DeGale, even Daniel Dubois and Nathan Gorman. As I say, if it were to happen, I've got Riley winning that all day long, maybe even early. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Riley's performance, who he should fight next, and how far you think he can go. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast, where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.